everybody and welcome back to Inside number 23, my little piece of the interwebs which is all about knitting and sewing and generally living the craftiest life possible. My name is Katie. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the interwebs as Miss Lavelli, although I'm most active on Instagram, so I'd recommend following me there if you want regular updates. And if you want to contact me regarding anything to do with the podcast, the best way to do so is to drop me an email. The email address for the podcast is katie@insidenumber23.com. I am coming to you, as always, from Hertfordshire, which is just north of London, where I live with my husband Emrys and our lovely pug puppy Rolly, and I am so excited to be back with you again for another podcast. We did have a little bit of a hiatus last week. For that I apologise. I'll get into that in a little bit as to why that kind of happened, but everything's really great here at the moment. We had some rain, which is super exciting. In a truly British way, I am utterly ecstatic that it's been raining again this week. The relief in the weather, it's been very hot here in the UK, has been a real joy, and I've managed to get quite a lot of projects done, which is very exciting, so yay! So the reason that I wasn't with you guys last week is kind of two different reasons. Firstly, Emrys and I actually had a substantial amount of time off work together, which never happens, pretty much just doesn't happen ever. And it was really lovely. We decided to book this time off. Originally we were thinking maybe we'd go away before the baby comes. We are also expecting our first baby, in case you didn't know already, although I have been talking about it a fair amount, because it is quite a big deal for us, I guess. But we were going to go away, and then that didn't really end up happening because we didn't pull our finger out and book anywhere in time. But it's ended up being lovely because we've been at home together and we love our home so much, and spending time together every day has been such a joy. Spending time with Rolly, it's been wonderful, and yeah, that's kind of been keeping me very occupied, spending time with my husband, so I didn't really want to take time out of that to do a podcast last week. Also, we're currently having a lot of work done on the house, which I spoke about briefly last week. We are currently getting our upstairs bathroom redone. It's something that we haven't had done since we moved into the house. When we first moved into number 23, it was pretty derelict and falling apart, and everything is needed redoing. But basically, we are finally getting our bathroom redone in preparation for Minnie Matthews, who will be arriving probably towards the end of October, beginning of November. But that has meant that pretty much every day we've had a builder in the house with lots of sawing and bashing and crashing and all of this kind of ambient noise. So in the times that I would usually be podcasting, there's been a lot of background noise. And also it's kind of weird kind of podcasting when there are other people in the house who don't know that that's something that you do, and they think that you're nuts and you're just talking to yourself, so it's been a little bit awkward. Our builder was actually in today, but I decided to film after he had left because I really wanted to get an episode up for you guys this week. I didn't want it to be 2 weeks gone by without anything. But yes, that's why again there wasn't an episode last week. Excitingly, I do have a little bit of footage that I am currently cutting together, which will be a kind of behind the scenes look at inside number 23 and our remodelling of the bathroom, and that will also kind of go into me having a new study and our nursery, because a lot of you were very excited about seeing what was going on in the house, so thank you for that. I love watching what people do with their houses, so it's really kind of a fun thing for me to do anyway, so I am in the process of doing that. I will hopefully be putting up a before video relatively soon for our bathroom, so you've got that to look forward to. But yeah, that's basically what's been keeping me busy. I have been doing some crafting and stuff like that as well, but getting the house kind of squared away is a really big thing on our to-do list before Minnie Matthews gets here. Excitingly, I've been doing a lot of organising of my stash and all of my crafting supplies, which does mean that a de-stash will be imminent. I'm not entirely sure when it will happen because I want to be quite methodical about it, because I know that I will just have the worst time getting things to the post office unless I do it in a methodical manner. But you can probably tell from behind me, if you're a long time viewer of the podcast, that things are a little bit more organised, and I'm in my sewing room at the moment and it's just so lovely to be in here, and there's not just piles of rubbish everywhere, everything's been organised and I've sorted out so much stuff, and it's just really good, so I'm feeling good which is great. You can probably tell that my energy levels are at an all-time high. I've heard that that is the case at this point in pregnancy. The kind of nesting need kicks in, and I am embracing it with everything I have, because I know that there will come a time when I will just crash again and be very tired. So yay for that. Okay, before we get on to all of the things that I have been working on, I did want to give you guys a little bit of an update regarding knit-alongs and that type of thing. So firstly, a long languishing knit-along that I kind of let the ball drop on, which is the Wang-along, which was a garment knit-along for the incredible designer Michelle Wong. Very excitingly, so many of you got involved with that, and that was amazing. And initially it was supposed to end several months ago, and then I got quite unwell and I didn't podcast for a really long time and nothing really happened, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do about the CAL, and I have now made an executive decision. I'm going to be leaving the chatter thread open until the end of August. I'm also going to be opening a finished object thread in our Ravelry group. We do have a Ravelry group for Inside Number 23, so if you're a member of Ravelry, do go and check that out. And do feel free to share your finished objects in that thread. I would really love to see everything that you've been working on. But I'm going to be keeping both of those threads open until the end of this month, so the end of August, and then I will be drawing prizes, probably a couple from the chatter thread and a couple from the finished object thread, because the goal of the Wang-along was never to finish something specifically, because I know that Michelle's patterns are a little bit intimidating, but from what I can gather, a lot of you actually did finish your projects, so I thought it would be lovely to have a finished object thread, just in case anybody wanted to share all of their finished garments in there. But I will be drawing prizes at the end of this month, so big thumbs up for that, yay! Excitingly, I have decided to have a rather small and informal knit-along in September. This will probably be the last knit-along that I host for a while, because obviously little baby is going to be on the way, and I don't think I will have a huge amount of time for things like knit-alongs in the near future. So we thought it would be lovely for us to do a little informal knit-along throughout September, just to celebrate autumn. I love autumn and everything it stands for, and September is my birthday month, so it's always a really lovely time. It makes me very happy, and the pattern that I've selected for this knit-along is the S shawl from the incredible book Marlisle by Anna Maltz. I absolutely love this book, I absolutely love this pattern, and I would love it if you guys decided to get involved in the S-along. Yes, it's a really original name, but it's going to be super casual. Again, I'm not going to expect anyone to finish. It's just something that I think that we could all knit on together and just have a really fun time. I already have my yarns picked out that I shared on last week's episode, I believe. I am going to be using, if you can see, I don't really want to pull it out, but this lovely colour of yarn, which is by my lovely friend Gabby of Once Upon a Corgi. I'm going to be using that combined with some beautiful DK yarn that I have in stash as well. And I thought I would announce it this week so that you guys, if you want to get involved, can have a little bit of time to collect your supplies. Now, this is going to be a little bit different from my usual knit-alongs, and I'm doing it this way because I think it will be a little bit less pressurised for myself, because like I said, I want this to be kind of informal and fun and relaxed and no pressure about finishing, just getting involved and loving Anna's patterns and just engaging in the imminent arrival of autumn and all of this good stuff. So I decided, rather than having Ravelry groups for this knit-along, this is going to be an Instagram knit-along. I am going to be following the hashtag #salong. So it's very, very simple to remember, nothing more than that. I have looked that up on Instagram and nobody else seems to be using that hashtag at the moment. But if you could just all tag your photos and your progress with the hashtag #salong, when it comes to the end of the month, I will go through that hashtag and I will look at all the pictures and I will draw a couple of prizes from that hashtag on Instagram. And I also thought it would be a really nice way for us all to connect on social media, because I find using Instagram to share photos and progress and that type of thing, it's just so much more social, at least I find, than Ravelry, at least in the way that I use my social media. So I'm sorry if you don't use Instagram. It is super, super relaxed, like I said, but it will be something that is only being done through Instagram. It's the first time I've ever done this. It's kind of a trial run for this, this simple and fun knit-along, and I hope that you guys want to get involved. If it's a success, we might do more knit-alongs like this in the future, although, like I said, not in the very, very near future. But it's just a trial to see how doing something different maybe helps us engage with each other a little bit more, particularly because I don't really use Ravelry other than checking in on the podcast group every so often. So yes, I hope that that's all good. I'm really, really excited to cast on my S shawl myself. I'm going to wind up all my yarn and pick a project bag and pick a progress keeper and make everything really cute, and I can't wait. And I will be sharing photos of that on Instagram really, really soon. So I really hope that you guys want to get involved. And even if it's just a few of us, I think it's going to be loads of fun, and yeah. Well, enough rabbiting on about knit-alongs and that kind of thing. I think it's about time that I talk about what I've been working on this week. And I'm really excited to be able to share some stuff with you, because like I said, I've cranked out quite a few things in the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to start off with my knitting, and to start off with, I have a couple of finished objects to share with you, and they are both baby knits, and I'm so happy with both of them. So the first one is something that I started to share with you last week. I had just cast this on in my last episode, not last week, my last episode, and it's now finished and I love it and it's so adorable, and it is the Beyond Puerperium, can't pronounce that word, cardigan. Is this not one of the cutest things you have ever seen in your life? I love it. I love it so much. So I knit this out of fingering weight yarn. This beautiful, oh, I just love it so much. This tweedy yarn was dyed by A Homespun House, and it's the Shire colourway, this gorgeous green colour. And the cuffs, I believe this is Madeleine Tosh. I'm not entirely sure because I've lost the ball band and it was just wrapped up in stash, but it is very, very cute. This kind of off-white for the contrasting button band and neckband and cuffs, and also along the hem there. And to top it all off, I added these adorable buttons that I've had in stash for a very long time, these little ladybird buttons, which I think look really, really cute. The little pops of red in contrast to the green make me incredibly happy, and I am absolutely thrilled with this cardigan. I already have another one planned in DK weight yarn, and yeah, I love this. It's so cute and little. This cardigan kind of came into existence because of the massive discussion that has been had over my past few episodes about the type of clothing that is best suited for little humans, in particular regarding things that go over their heads. I hadn't quite taken into account how large little babies' heads can be, and also how soft their heads can be, which I know is one of the reasons why a lot of people suggest that cardigans are much better for teeny humans than sweaters, because then you can just button them up and you don't have to worry about the kind of upsetting moment of trying to pull a sweater over the little head. And you may or may not remember I cast on the anchor shirt using this yarn. It's a beautiful patterns by Petite Knits, but it just wasn't, I wasn't feeling it, and the neckband looked quite snug and it was giving me a lot of worry, and as someone who is a naturally anxious person, the idea of kind of pulling this shirt over my little baby's head and maybe causing them to get really upset would cause me to get really upset. So this is basically a great alternative to that, and I'm so happy with it. I also went for a slightly larger size than I have been knitting for the baby so far. This is a 3 to 6 month, 3 to 6 months rather, cardigan, so it's a little bit bigger. I have been knitting kind of 3-month sizes, but again, people kind of said maybe sizing up would be a good idea, and I love it. I must admit, little tiny garments, even something this small, in fingering weight, they don't knit up as fast as I would like them to. I do think I will be sticking with slightly heavier weight yarns for the next couple of projects that I'm doing, just because I like the way that they finish. I've made a double knit cardigan as well, and I really love how squishy that is and how soft, so I might be avoiding fingering weight for at least the next few projects that I make for baby. That being said, I love this and it was so much fun to work on, and it did knit up super fast. But yes, I'm happy because I feel that the simple stockinette shows off the pattern really beautifully of this yarn. It shows off the colourway, and yeah, there's nothing that I'm unhappy with about this. I think it's adorable, and again, nice and gender neutral, as we do not know the sex of our baby and we are not going to find out until they are born. So lots of things that would be suitable for either a boy or a girl, and I think that whether they're a boy or a girl, they're going to look adorable in this. So very, very happy with that. Now, a lot of you have been sending me messages recently with other suggestions for baby knits, which is incredibly appreciated. Thank you for that. And someone dropped me an email recently suggesting a couple of different things, but one of them, when I saw it, I could not resist it, and my second finished object is using that pattern, and oh my goodness, I'm so obsessed with this. This took me, I kid you not, less than a day to knit the entire thing and block it and finish it and everything. So I think it's an incredible gift knit for baby, or if you just want to have a really quick project for a baby that's not particularly demanding. It is the Barely Bonnet, which is by Pure Stitches, and I finished it. Isn't this just adorable? Oh my goodness, it's so cute. Look at its little ears. So when I hold it here, it looks like it would fit me, doesn't it? It's like huge, but it's actually quite itty bitty. It wouldn't fit on my head, but it's a really lovely pattern. It's actually a free pattern on Ravelry, which is another reason why I would recommend it. And I again knitted the slightly larger size. I went for the 6-month hat because I hear that babies' heads are quite big, not necessarily tiny. Although I am thinking of knitting the smaller one just in case, because if it doesn't fit my little one, then it will probably fit one of their toys, or I can always gift it to another teeny little baby, something like that. But yes, finished the Barely Bonnet, and I like I said, I did this in a day. I cast it on in the morning, I knit the entire thing, blocked it and assembled it all in a day, and I love it. I love the little ears. I love that the ears are double thickness, so they're really quite squidgy, like toy ears. In terms of the little tassels, I used I-cord for mine and then stitched them on, and I really love how that looks. I think it's really cute. I love little tassels on baby hats and just on hats in general. I think tassels are very cute. But this yarn was actually a gift from a very kind viewer who sent me a couple of different things. But this is the, let me check my notes so I get the name exactly right. It's the CaraMa Rose, and it's the Yaku yarn in the Bordeaux colourway. It's 100% merino fingering weight yarn, and it is beautiful. I think this yarn is amazing. They currently sell this at Loop in London, I know, and they have, I think, something like 35 different colours, and I just think this is beautiful. The quality of it is lovely. It is really soft. I love this colour. For those of you who haven't been watching for a long time, I am a massive fan of kind of jewel tones and autumnal colours, and as our little baby is going to be an autumn baby, this just felt like an adorable little addition to their wardrobe. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and like I said, a really quick knit, very intuitive. It's a free pattern, it's definitely portable, so you could knit it on the go, and it comes in a whole variety of different sizes, so very happy with the Burley bonnet. It's the second little hat that I have knit for the baby now, and I love it. I think it's very cute, and I will most definitely be casting on another one of these, at least another one of these, because little baby bear is coming and needs little bear hats. It's gonna happen. So I'm very happy with that, in case you can't tell. Okay, enough about baby knitting, because this week I have actually put a little bit of work in on some projects for myself. I know, it's a miracle. I do really enjoy the baby knits because they're very quick and very satisfying, and kind of seeing them slowly begin to pile up in the baby's crib, which we've now assembled. It's actually the crib that I slept in as a baby, so it's kind of cute and emotional, and so yeah, that's where I'm keeping all of their baby knits at the moment. So seeing that pile grow brings me a lot of joy. But I have been working on some of my own projects because I have a lot of sweater works in progress that I want to get finished before the baby gets here. So I need to crack on, because I've got about 4 or 5 work in progress sweaters that have been languishing for a while, and it's going to take me a while to get all of those done. I really need to crack on with all of those. But the one that I've been working on this week is my breathing space. I haven't made a substantial dent on it because basically I'm in sleeve island. Here I am. I haven't started the second sleeve. This is still the first sleeve. I've knit the majority of this project. You know, I knit the whole of the body. I love this project. This is patterned by Veera Välimäki. Everybody and their auntie seems to have knit this pattern, and I can totally understand why, because it's beautiful. And I'm knitting it out of one of my favourite yarns that I've ever used, which is Travel Knitter in the English Damson colourway and the Puddled Iron colourway in her Tanami base, which is a 50/50 silk baby camel blend, and it is pure luxury and gorgeous. But I am on Sleeve Island, and as has kind of happened with a lot of my projects, I go great guns through the entire body of the sweater and I'm having the best time, and then I get to the sleeves and I just want to cast on something new, and I've been very naughty and have indulged in that quite a few times. But I am determined that now I'm going to be monogamous on this sweater until it's done. Or at least I'm not going to necessarily cast on anything brand new. I'm going to hopefully work on the projects that are currently works in progress, but I want to get this finished, and then I have my soiree sweater to finish, and just so many projects that need to get done. But I'm really enjoying it. The sleeve is growing. I'm actually on the sleeve decreases now, which is great because it feels like the end is in sight. And I must admit, I have been re-watching a lot of episodes of The Great British Bake Off, as the entire back catalogue of The Great British Bake Off is now available on UK Netflix, and I love it so much. I just adore The Great British Bake Off. So I've been watching a lot of baking whilst knitting on this project. So depending on how much Great British Bake Off I watch in the next week, you may or may not have a completed sleeve and a bit. Fingers crossed I'll have at least one sleeve done by the next time that we talk. But yes, that is kind of what I'm working on at the moment. I love this. It feels incredible. This yarn is so soft and beautiful and autumnal. I mean, like I said, I love autumnal colours, can't you tell? But yeah, it's bringing me a lot of joy, and particularly now that the weather is on the turn. I do think we have some warmer days still left to come in August, but I am really, really hoping that the weather starts to cool down and become a little bit more autumnal, because that really encourages me to work on projects like my sweaters. So fingers crossed this will be done sometime soon, because like I said, I need to get a wiggle on if I'm going to get all of these projects finished by the time the baby gets here. Oh my goodness, so much pressure. I always put too much pressure on myself about these things. I have one more knitting project to talk to you about this week, and I have to admit it's an incredibly naughty project that I shouldn't really have done, but I'm not going to apologise for it because it made me incredibly happy. But I am suffering severely from startitis at the moment. Like I said, with my breathing space, I kind of get to the sleeves or get near to the end of a big project and all I want to do is cast on something new. And considering that this week was a bit of a holiday for Emrys and I, and we were spending time together and it was really, really lovely, I just thought, I think I want to cast on something new maybe for this time that we're going to be together, so I can knit on something. And also, since finishing my Tegna, I have been dying for a little bit of lace knitting. I've literally been itching to get my fingers on some lace knitting, so the stockinette stitch of the breathing space was just not cutting it for me at all, and all I wanted was to do some lace. So I had a little look through some patterns that I've been eyeing up for a while, and my heart skipped a beat when I remembered a certain pattern by a certain incredible designer, Caitlyn Hunter of Boylan Knitworks, who is very, very well known for all of her colourwork patterns, which everybody seems to be going nuts over at the moment. But personally, I am a huge fan of every pattern that she has produced that involves lace. And I spotted the White Horse pattern, which is a sweater pattern, which has an incredibly intricate lace yoke with 3/4 length sleeves, a kind of cropped length, and I lost my mind and thought, I must knit this, I must knit it. All the more excitingly, it's knit in a DK weight yarn, which means that I wouldn't be knitting another fingering weight sweater, and considering the amount of fingering weight projects that I've done recently, I was itching for something a little heavier weight. And like I said, the weather's been a bit cooler, I've been encouraged to get some of my heavier weight yarns out of the stash, and this yarn was already in my stash, so I just knew all of the stars had aligned and I had to cast this sweater on. The funny point of the story is I not only cast this on, I not only worked on this excessively over the past week or so, I actually finished it. I kid you not, this sweater I cast on and finished in 8 days. Just over a week, and I'm so happy with it. It hasn't been blocked. I was going to block it, but then I realised if I blocked it either kind of last thing last night or first thing this morning, it still wouldn't be dry by the time that I was going to be podcasting, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So I didn't block it yet, so please forgive the fact that it hasn't been blocked. But you guys, I finished it. Isn't it adorable? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I just, it's everything I want and more in a sweater at the moment. I don't even know where the love of this sweater came from, because I haven't knit anything like this for a really long time. It's not cables, it's not oversized, it's a little cropped sweater, and it is full on lace. Let me show you all of this. Obviously this will look considerably better after blocking, but just look at all of this lace. It's amazing, and it goes onto the tops of the sleeves, which then go down into reverse stockinette, as does the body, and it's finished at a kind of cropped length with a 2x1 rib. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. This yarn is actually some of the Laxtons Limited yarn that I will also be using for my S shawl. This is their DK weight BFL Masham blend, and it's gorgeous. It smells so sheepy, and it's so kind of soft. It's not merino soft, it's BFL soft, and I actually prefer it, I think, to merino, because it's not as soft as kind of, you know, kittens and bunnies and that type of thing, but it feels like it has more body and more life, and I'm so happy with it. I can't wait to get this blocked and ready to wear. Obviously, considering that I am in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, I'm probably not going to be able to wear this for a little while, because it is, I mean, it's slightly oversized in the body. I knit the medium size, which is usually the size that I go for with Caitlyn Hunter's patterns. I wanted this to fit really nicely and not necessarily just be something that I could wear kind of as a maternity jumper and slightly after being pregnant. I wanted it to be a long-term thing, so I knitted it more to my regular size as opposed to my pregnant body size. But because it's slightly oversized, I don't think that there's too much in it, but that's why I made that decision. But I have tried it on since I finished it, and it does vaguely kind of fit over the bump. So you never know, I may well be wearing this in autumn before the baby gets here. Sweater obviously is not going to be super convenient to be wearing with breastfeeding and that type of thing once the baby is here, but again, it's cropped, so it might be quite easy to kind of whip up, get a boob out, you know. But this was a project that was entirely kind of process, and it's for me. This made me so happy. This was the perfect example of when you just need something specific in your knitting life to bring you joy, and although it's pretty impractical, it's not something I needed, it's definitely not something I needed regarding the amount of works in progress that I currently have, but I am so happy with it. And guys, you should all make one. It is amazing, because the entire yoke, like I said, is the beautiful, beautiful lace. It's reverse stockinette stitch on the body and the sleeves, but they're actually knit inside out, so you don't have to do all of those purl stitches if you're at all intimidated with that. And yeah, 8 days this took me. So I'm going to, fingers crossed, if I get my act together, get this blocked tonight so that I can share it with you properly next week in all its glory when it's finished. But Caitlyn Hunter, I know that everybody is obsessed with her colour work, and I do think her colour work is amazing, but her lace, oh, it's everything. It's everything, and this sweater is everything to me. I am so happy, so happy with it, and I can't wait to wear it over little Peter Pan collared shirts and dresses and that type of thing. Oh, utter joy. So yeah, another finished object, and this one is for me. So that's everything that I've been knitting on this week, and yeah, I feel like it's quite a substantial amount, so hooray for that. But now I'm going to talk about a bit of sewing. I'm feeling really good about my sewing projects at the moment, mostly because I've had a really thorough sort out of everything in my sewing room, and everything is so much more organised in here than it has ever been, which means that I now have a really good to-do list in the lead up to baby getting here, in terms of a couple of things that I really did want to get finished. Again, like my sweaters, before they get here, a couple of projects that are specifically for them, and yeah, I just feel kind of more at peace with what's going on in my sewing room at the moment. So it just feels good, you know. It is that mentality of tidy house, tidy mind. A lot of my house is incredibly untidy at the moment due to the amount of building work that's going on, but I'm clinging to the little pieces of my home that are tidy and organised, and they're bringing me excessive amounts of joy. But as I talked about in my last episode, I have been working on some projects, and I'm actually wearing one of them. Hooray! So this is a project that I had finished last week, but I wasn't able to share it with you because I was a bit of a cripple last week. Thank you for all of your advice regarding back pain in pregnancy, by the way. It's actually been a real relief that I haven't suffered as badly with back pain in the past week. I think that I was just a little bit stressed with the imminent starting of all of the work to be done on the house. I think that I was panicking because I didn't know what to expect, but it's actually been very smooth so far. There's been a few hiccups in terms of things not necessarily being done as quickly as we'd anticipated, but everything has been done to such a beautiful standard that it doesn't really matter. So that stress has gone. You know, I'm sure that I'll find something else to stress over because that's just the way that I am. But feeling a lot better, particularly when it comes to my back. So thank you for that. But yes, I have finished this dress. This is the Givre dress, and it's a pattern by Deer and Doe, who are one of my favourite pattern designers of all time. And this is a pattern that's actually available as a non-maternity dress, so just a regular dress, and a maternity pattern. And I think that that's fabulous because it's a really, really good dress and I love it so much. The maternity version is only available as a PDF, so you can either print it out, print at home kind of version, which is what I did, when you get all of your A4 pages and stick them together, or you can send it to a copy shop or one of those online kind of pattern printing websites and they can then send the pattern to you. I am incredibly happy with how this dress turned out. I was a little bit worried that it would just be a bit like a giant body stocking, and to be perfectly honest, it is. But I love that about it because it's so comfortable. I have basically wanted to live in this dress since I finished it. I really, really do need to get off my bum and sew up another version of this dress because I'm wearing this one to death at the moment. It comes in two different sizes in the pattern. It comes into a 3 to 6 month kind of maternity pattern and 6 to 9 months. And originally I did print out the 3 to 6 month version, but then I didn't get my act together and actually sew it. So I had to reprint the larger version, and at first I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be way too big and it's going to look really ridiculous. And then obviously I hit my 3rd trimester and my bump has grown quite a lot in the past few weeks, and this is by far the most comfortable thing that I have to wear. I would say I hesitated when it came to sewing a lot of specifically maternity themed clothing because as I've spoken about previously, if I could actually speak, I don't know if I'll ever be pregnant again after this pregnancy, and it seemed a little bit odd to spend a lot of time and expense and energy on making garments to fit me specifically when I'm pregnant, because you're like, oh, it's only 9 months, it's really, you know, it's not that long. The reality is being comfortable when you're pregnant is just the most important thing ever. It's all you care about, and I do think that having just 1 or 2 garments that you've made yourself, which always makes me feel better when I'm wearing something that I've actually made myself rather than something that's shop bought, that is specifically designed around the bump, is just such a relief, and it makes you feel so much better. And this dress was super simple. I went for the most simple version, the sleeveless version. It doesn't have colour blocking. There is a version that you can do kind of from just below the bust line up, a different colour from the lower portion of the dress. It's basically 4 pieces, because you have a front piece, a back piece, an armhole piece and a neckline piece, and that's it. And that's what you want when you're sewing, when you're pregnant. You want something simple that doesn't require a lot of energy, and I love this dress. I would really recommend it to anybody who is either sewing for themselves or for a pregnant person in their life. This makes me feel comfortable, but also it makes me feel glamorous. It's figure hugging enough that I feel that it shows off all of the good things about my pregnant body. So for example, my bump looks good in it, the girls look pretty good in it, but it's not so clingy that I'm kind of overheating and getting uncomfortable and having, you know, my legs rubbed together too much, which is really uncomfortable when it's already been very hot. But I also really like the sleeveless version because it's very easy for me to cool down quickly, which is one of the benefits, which is one of the necessities at the moment, because when I'm commuting in particular, if I get too hot, without being too graphic, I will just be sick. Even now, a long time after my morning sickness kind of phase, which thank goodness, thank you, has come to an end now, I do still have the availability. I do still have the ability to be quite unwell if I overheat, or if I rush too fast, or if I get too stressed, particularly when I'm on a train because of motion sickness, and that has happened a couple of times. And it's just great to be able to automatically cool myself down by layering. So having something like this, I do think I'm going to be wearing this right up to my due date, just because for one, it's really comfortable, but for two, I can layer it up if I want to, but it's very easy to cool down in it. So yay, dear and doe, you've made pretty much my favourite patterns for my non-maternity body and for my maternity body, so big thumbs up to you, and I love this dress. This fabric, by the way, was a lovely gift from one of my beautiful work colleagues, Louise. She picked this up for me in Japan, of all places, and it's a ribbed jersey, so it's got even more flexibility in it than a regular jersey, and I just love it. I do have a fair bit of yardage left over that I may be making some things for the baby out of, because I think black and white stripes on a baby are utterly adorable, but I'm very happy with it, and it's worn incredibly well, although I do think that some people say that if they look at me too much they get a bit of a woo. I think I'm a bit of an optical illusion type thing with all these stripes, but that doesn't matter to me because I'm comfortable and I love how I look, so yay, givre dress. The other project that I have been working on is nowhere near finished at the moment. It's a project that I've been talking about for a while, and I'm really excited to actually be working on it now. It is my hack of the cami dress by Pauline Alice. And I do want to say at the beginning of this is that I was getting a couple of messages from people who were saying when I had mentioned this pattern before, they couldn't actually find it on the Pauline Alice website, and I thought, oh no, this is going to be another bluet dress situation. For those of you who don't know, one of my favourite patterns by Dear and Doe, who made the pattern for the givre dress, is the bluet dress, which is a button-down kind of shirt dress. And I love that pattern so much. I have made more of that dress than any other dress that I've ever made. Makes me sad that it doesn't currently fit me, but that's a whole other thing. But it went out of print after I had bought it, and it's now back in print, thank goodness, but for a very long time people were very upset that they couldn't make one of their own, and I was terrified that that was going to happen with the cami dress as well. Luckily, the only reason that it wasn't available on the website is they've actually reprinted the pattern, they've made some improvements, and they've actually added the pattern hack that I'm doing without a pattern to the current pattern. So basically what I'm doing in order to make this maternity friendly and also post-pregnancy friendly is I have raised the waistline, so it's just going to sit underneath the bust area, and I'm also creating a placard down the entire front of the dress because it's a shirt waist dress, which I just love. I love a shirtwaist dress. So instead of just having the buttons go down to the waist, I'm going to have them running down the entirety of the front of the dress, just for convenience getting in and out. So this should be good to go for pregnancy, obviously, because it's going to have that lovely empire waistband. Empire line waistband, but it will also be super useful when it comes to things like breastfeeding and all of that type of thing in the near future. All of these fun things to look forward to. But I've been working on the bodice. It's taken me a little while because, like I said, I am not using the actual pattern in order to do this. I am just kind of going by eye and fitting things, and I started working on this when it was still relatively warm outside, so you can imagine I didn't have much energy to kind of keep trying this on and taking it off, and I was getting very hot and flustered, but I'm really happy with how it's looking. It is a little bit creased because it's been in my bag because I've been taking it to work on it, but I do have the bodice pretty much done now. I'm using this beautiful blue chambray fabric, which I love. It's really gorgeous. It's kind of navy, but it has some of the stitches are almost royal blue, so it has a real lovely glow to it. And it's so soft, and oh, I love it so much. It's going to be just a really, really lovely garment to wear. I've already set in one of the sleeves, and I'm not going to lie, this is probably the best set-in sleeve that I have ever sewn in my life. I'm kind of ecstatic with how it looks. It needs to be pressed a little bit still, but there are no puckers and no pleats or anything. It's just set into perfection. I have no idea how I did that. Maybe the pregnancy gods were smiling down on me when I sewed this in, and they said, you could do with a break. So we'll let you have a perfect set-in sleeve. The other one I have just pinned in, which is ready to be sewn, and I love it. I went for the slightly longer length sleeve. You can do a shorter sleeve with this, kind of a little cat sleeve, but I've gone for the longer one because I want to do the version that has the cuff, because I love a cuff. And I'm going to do a white collar, and I'm going to do some embroidery on it. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do yet, although I imagine it will probably be something like roses or hearts, just because I think the navy blue with the white with the reds will just look so pretty. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out so far. It's actually a really simple pattern hack to do if you do have kind of the original cami dress pattern, but like I said, it's actually something that is included with the new version, so you won't have to do a pattern hack if you buy this pattern from now onwards. It's my first time ever working with a Pauline Alice pattern, and I've really enjoyed the process so far. It's been really interesting and very clear, and just, yeah, it's just a really great pattern. I don't really know what else to say about that, but I'm genuinely thrilled with how this is turning out, and I again would like to get this finished relatively soon. I might add a little bit of a hack onto the front. I might add like a little patch pocket or something, because this fabric is so plain. I do think it would look really sweet to have like a little breast pocket on it, as well as the detail on the collar. That would look really sweet. I am also thinking that I'm going to put pockets into the skirt, perhaps, just because I love pockets in everything, essentially, so that will be very exciting. But yes, this is going great guns at the moment. I'm enjoying it immensely. And to be honest, after the amount of jersey garments that I've been making and stretchy fabric garments, going back to my roots, which is woven fabrics and slightly more tailored looking clothes, makes my heart so happy. I can't even tell you. It's very fashionable at the moment to sew with stretch fabrics, and I totally know why, because they're so comfortable and they're actually incredibly easy to work with. Once you've sewn a couple, I think it's very, very addictive to sew with all the knits and the stretchy fabrics, but this is where my heart lies, and I'm just really, really thrilled with how it's going, and fingers crossed I can make the hack work, because it would be really disappointing if that all went wrong. But I do think that these two would look incredibly cute together. Oh my goodness. My autumn wardrobe is coming together. Well, there you have it, guys. That is everything for this week. I feel like I did get a fair amount done. It's one of those things at the moment. I don't necessarily have the best gauge on my productivity because I feel like even when I've completed 100 things, I still don't feel like I've got enough done because there literally is so much to be getting on with at the moment, with everything going on in the house in preparation for the baby, and there's a lot of things going on at work, which I'm going back to tomorrow. It's my first day back after quite a few days off, so I will need to hit the ground running because I have a lot of things to get sorted out before I start maternity leave. And yeah, but I do think it's nice to celebrate the small achievements that I have made, and hopefully you've enjoyed seeing all of those projects this week. I am going to call it a day for this week. It's a little bit later in the day than I usually record because, like I said, I had to wait until our lovely builder had left. But I hope that you all have an amazing week filled with all the crafty goodness that brings your heart joy. I will be checking in again soon, fingers crossed, with a little kind of behind the scenes video regarding the work that we're getting done on the house. But I will see you all very, very soon. From me to you, I'm sending you all so much love, and I hope you have a great week. Bye!